Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. Audience members. Hello, everybody. I hope you're wonderful on this wonderful Wednesday. Uh, uh, Wacky Wednesday or Wonky Wednesday. Add a good word to it before. Wonderful, wandering, wafering, whatever you want to do. Whatever word you'd like to add to the day on a positive note, always, well, it's always helped me. And I try to always keep myself in a uplifted place. Because we all know how ish goes and how everything could just make us be in a low place because of circumstances, right? This is the world. This is life. This is reality. This is reality. I'm gonna pull over. I've got so much to do here, as always. So I'm just gonna begin my my series here today with gratitude, gratitude every day, gratitude for waking up, gratitude for what's good, gratitude for what's bad, because what's bad makes me acknowledge everything that's good, which I always have. I always acknowledge the good, because the bad is just always thereabouts. It's just always lurking. It's never ever going to go away. This is how the world operates, you know. But, today I like to talk about health and how it's so important to eat proper, because if we don't eat proper, healthy foods, and many of us do not have access to healthy, proper, good foods, food deserts. So, I mean, that therein lies with how governing bodies are set up to not have adequate food in food desert areas. So, without adequate food, you don't have adequate nutrition. Without adequate nutrition, you don't have adequate health. Without adequate health, well, then you have to seek medical care. And then while you're seeking medical care, who is benefiting? That's what it all comes down to, everybody. So it's a matter of taking care of your health, eating healthy, um, not having fast food. I mean, I understand that there are people that are unhoused and they're living, in a vehicle, or they're living, in an RV, whatever the case may be, where they don't have access to food, to cooking. But if you have access to prepare food, and if you are living on the road, they do have those portable refrigerators, like where you can, like, say, for instance, you go somewhere, or you go to like a place where they have. Well, here's what's going to have to happen. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. Because of the expensive housing that is nationwide, and the lack of services, and the fact that the system has been so skewed for so long, set up areas where people that are unhoused can go and prepare food. How about you do that? How about you do that? Okay? Because people are sleeping in makeshift tents, people are using tarps for shelter. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. So maybe you can start with doing something like that. Have areas where people can go and prepare food, because you can buy a dozen of eggs. If you're unhoused, you can buy a dozen of eggs. You can make hard boiled eggs. You can make egg sandwiches. You know, you can cook potatoes and eggs, and you can have stuff, and then you could keep it in like a refrigerator, and then you could heat it up. But it's just we live in such a skewed society that, well, it's only for those who have money, and the people who are just surviving are doing just that. And now people are now scraping. People are now scraping. People have been scraping, but they've been living in denial on credit. So if they're scraping to get by and they can get another credit card for 25,000 or 50,000 or this or for that, or they get a home equity loan, it just keeps everything going. It keeps the banks in business. It keeps people impoverished because people don't really, let's put it this way, a lot of people use whatever kind of equity that they have, they use it as a bank, and then once that bank is depleted, well then they're it's creek without a paddle, you know. Shit's creek without a paddle. That's what happens, you know. But yeah, so health is so important, and staying hydrated with water, people. This is what I have here is stevia tea. This leaf isn't that good. The best one that I had, I bought it in Mexico. Viva la Mexico! I love Mexico. Um, Chidawi is a great market. When I was there the second time, or was it the first time? There was a lady in the market, a woman with her child. She looks like a single mother or maybe a widow, and she was struggling. Like she didn't have enough. So I said to the cashier, I said, what's her bill? I'll take care of the whole thing. And I did, and the lady started crying, and I was like, I would do this to everybody here. But anyway, food. You have to have healthy food, nutrition, healthy food, nutrition, because without that, then you're in doctor's offices, and that's what they want. They want us all to be sick and ill. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Deeper into debt, 100%. But yeah, so if you have, if there's places where people can prepare food that are unhoused, then at least they can have what they prepared, like, and you have to listen. All these hospitals that are going to be closing now, what do you think these investors are going to do? You think they're going to let those buildings that have plumbing and have the structure and have the parcel and have a tax ID number, you think they're going to let them go and be demolished? They may demolish some of them, but they're going to turn them into luxury high-end condos, people. That's what they're going to do. That's what the hell they're going to do, you know? And the trumpet man and his whole operation, they don't give two flying F's about the regular working people. And if you think that they do, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but they don't. They don't. This whole scheme now, what's going on with the tariffs, this is an opportunity for every single one of these people that are in his on his board, because basically they're board members, they're not elected officials. They're elected officials in the word of having been voted into office as per his designation of whatever he had to sign off on. But no, they're really basically board members. So they're the ones who have made the money. They're the ones who made the money when all this nonsense was going on with the tariffs, where things were going up and down and up and down. Because listen, if you get the drop on something way ahead of everybody else, where your funds are funneled into, you damn sure skippy as hell are gonna go and make sure you make that money. Ain't no doubt about it. Now let's be real, people. Ain't no doubt about it. You're gonna make that money. So yeah, they're all gonna be investigated. They're all gonna be held liable. And I'm just waiting. I think everybody, every concerned citizen, every individual who has had it up to their eyebrows and their hairline, the remaining hairline for those who have hairlines, they've had enough. All right, and everybody's gonna be investigated, because what you're all doing is horrendous. What you're all doing is absolutely despicable, and you don't care. You don't care. And for the people who supported him, well, now the wake up call, now the alarm has gone off, and you're like, oh shit, oh shit, you know. It's the world we live in. But people, the main thing is take care of your health and your nutrition. Stop eating. Do not eat anything prepared. Look at it this way: when next time you go to the supermarket, okay, and you buy something, if the ingredients look like a science project with the listing that is like yay long, don't buy it. Don't eat it. You know, but this is the world that we live in. See, now we all grew up on processed foods, every single one of us. You know, unless you grew up in a household with nutritionists and scientists who knew better. You know, but many of us we didn't have that. You know, so, but that's it. But everybody have a great day. Be kind to one another. Remember, eat healthy if you can help people. Now school is starting. If you have any stuff to give, like that you're not using, like that your kids may not be using, that they've outgrown it, find like a local. Here's what you can do. What I've been doing, we have a shelter here in Poughkeepsie, and I have a bunch of items, and I brought over stuff to them, and I'm gonna be gathering some more stuff, you know. And again, these families, these women that are there, they didn't wake up, you know. Their assignment in life was not to become homeless and to have to live, you know, in a shelter. You know, remember that, people. For any of the imbeciles who want to point fingers and judge, you know, because every time you point your finger, you got the other ones pointing right back at you, you know. Humility goes a long way. Humility goes a long way, people. And there is no humility in government. There's nothing but arbitrary litigation and manipulation for finances. That's really what politics are. Because they don't really do anything. It's no longer for the people, it's for APAC. Okay? It's no longer for the people, it's for lobbyists, okay? This is the real deal, people. So um, there's going to be a major shutdown. We have to all unite and come together. We have to not spend money. We have to make this like a weekly thing where there's one day out of the week where no one is out spending, no one is out shopping, no one is out. Don't even go out. Don't even go out. You know, because the way that they're shutting things down for us, remember, our names are not, we ain't Jesus. You know, you smack me, you're going to get smacked back. So, you know, it's like the Dems did. They were playing nice, like, all right, well, let's abide by the rules and let them do their gerrymandering, and we'll be the good people of America. And, you know, we'll abide by the rules and regulations. Oh, hell no. Hell no. No, 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 no. They show up with a freaking, they show up pow pow. You show up with 20 more pow pows and boom, boom, boom. Because that's what they're doing. And for the Democrats who are supporting um, Israel, for the Dems who are supporting Israel, you're asked out. You're asked out. Every last one of you. You're asked out. You are no longer part of working for the people. You want a gig? You got one with APAC. How's that? How's that? There you go. You freaking people. I would say things on here, but they would ban me. Then they'd be at my door. They'd be at my door. Patricia, we're here to lock you up, like what the troopers did. Two altar boys, they came knocking on the door. I told that story. Yes, officer? Um, well, we're here to arrest you for fraud. Fraud? Oh, really? Tell me more. I'm all ears. Then after I instructed them with, oh, no, 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 you're not going to do that because here's the scenario. Well, they went like this. I break the one nine. And they scurried along, and they went along. Because I told the story, what they did was, here's what they did. Hold on. I need some hydration. Is this stevia? What they did was, because I came forward with a SA that happened to me by a member of the service, SCNYPD service. Well, they were like, okay, she's going to be making all this noise and doing all this complaining and this, that, and the other and going yap, 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 yap. We're going to go knock, knock, knock and lock her up. So when they arrived, here's what happened. I said to them, I said, so tell me, how did you get this report? And they said, your son called it in. And I said, wait a second, he did what? They said, your son called it in. He did what? I had them on camera. That's why I asked. I go, let me just, can I say something? Can I tell you something? Here's what happens. That's against the guidelines. You know why? I'm going to tell you why, because it's written. Shall I show it to you? I said, do me a favor, get. No. They were like, oh, shit. Well, she ain't no dummy, this bitch. This girl right here, she knows her shit. And then they scurried along. Oh, well, we can't lock her up, because if we lock her up, it's just going to impede upon our future career in law enforcement. Police. Yeah. How you doing? They were like two altar boys, too. They were two Irish boys, they were. They were very angelic. One had blue eyes. The other one had like hazel eyes. And I was like, oh, what eyes you have. Come on, people. Come on. Let's go. Let's stop jerking around with people, officers. I wrote a poem about that. That's in my book. Ah, yes. Well, the sheer entertainment of, which was not entertaining, it was actually very stressful. It was very damaging. But I've been documenting it all, I really, really have. We are what I call, we are like on a layered subtextual type of governing where everything is so layered, okay? And in order to have things that work, those layers need to be removed. Do you understand? Okay? They need to be removed. And once you remove all those layers, you'll have much more efficiency. Okay? Very simple. It's a very simple scenario. But anyway, I'll have to save the world another day. I've got so much to do here. I really do. I've got a lot to do. Anyway, everybody have a great day. Remember, really, please stop eating processed foods. Hydrogenated oils, all that stuff. High fructose, high sugar. Again, if the label ingredient on a perishable product that you feel the need to consume before you go ahead and ingest and buy it, read the label. Start eating healthy. Always stay hydrated. You know, with with perspiration and everything, and exercising or whatever. Just doing, could be going to the mailbox. You can put coarse sea salts into your water for electrolytes, and a fresh piece of fruit or even frozen fruit, because again, there's so many places that are food deserts, and most of those places that are food deserts are all black and brown communities and poor white rural communities, and those poor white rural communities, like in Virginia, they're rah, let's vote GOP. They've been voting that way because of hatred and racism and ignorance. GOP is not for the people. GOP is for the corporate. And then they come back they spew that line of shit, that horse shit. Well, corporations are the ones that make the money. Yeah, corporations do make the money. Yeah, they do. They do. You know what? But for those corporations that are making the money, unless you're hiring people, okay, that are going to benefit from that money that you're making, you need to stop popping off with the bullshit. That's the real word up. That's the real freaking truth. That's the real truth. Telling people some nonsense, please. Anyway. I'll give you more progress as I progress along with my progresso. Oh, I got my cabinet. I got the drawers on my one cabinet made. Finished. It's like one project every month. Next month I'll buy another dishwasher. Well, maybe. Gotta see. I got my hands. I had a dishwasher and I sold it like a dodo. It's like, oh God, the dishwasher uses too much water. I don't want to use all this electric. Oh God. Look, it's gonna be painted. Yeah. Put the handles on. Put the doors here. Put shelves in here. Just put a door here. Cover this up. Put the dishwasher here. Here. And then this will be your double cabinet. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, and I have grid wall. I have grid wall that I'm going to use over there. Oh my God, look, I'm all bruised up. See, from working? I'm like a stunt woman, man. I swear to God. I'm always... It's like, it's so funny. My mother used to tell me, like when I was a kid, I would fall. Like, I mean, fall hard. That's what happened. All those hits to the head. And I would just... And my little sister, she fell. She'd be... Ah! But my little sister, she didn't... My mom... She only remembers my mother for a very brief time as a healthy woman. Then my mother had the brain tumor. Then my mother came back. And my little sister didn't recognize her. My little sister was actually afraid of my mother. Yeah. Because she didn't recognize her. Yeah. And so that made my younger sister be very, very, very clingy to my mother. And my mother very clingy to her also, which is very understandable. Me, I was like, oh, Patty's going, she'll be back later. It wasn't neglect. It was just, listen, back then, we lived on Bronx River Road. When we moved from Harlem, we moved to Bronx River Road. That's when I was called the N-word repeatedly on Bronx River Road. Anyway, there was a store. There was a 1965. There was on the Bronx River Road heading southbound. There used to be an A&P. A&P. There was a shop. There was a parking lot, and there was the A&P. The A&P was on the opposite side, but then there was wait a second, no, it was on that side. There used to be a drugstore. Anyway, 5 years old, I remember going to the drugstore and buying my first book at 5. I mean, I didn't let my son out of the house alone until he was about, like, how old? I used to go to my mother's, but, like, never, ever. I had him, I was like, where are you? Who's your friends? No sleepovers. Yeah, never, ever. I just don't trust people. Plus, I'm a drill sergeant like my mother. Anyway, but, the grid wall. Let me show you about the grid wall. The grid wall is great for cabinets. And it's also good for, hold on. Let me get this piece. 1 second. 1 second. Oh my gosh. Grid wall. Where are you? Grid wall. Okay, I gotta check it like this. See that right there? The grid wall. This, if you stick it inside your cabinets, it has mounts that you put it on. I'm gonna put it over here. I gotta paint this. Yeah, I gotta paint this and I gotta put another one there. And that's it. Because these pieces of wood right here, they were $65 a piece. So these have to be repainted. I did one cut. I did a crappy job. But, oh, sandy plywood, $65 a piece. One board, you'll make one cabinet, and then you'll have scrap, and you'll have like a few pieces left over. You'll have enough scrap like for the shelves. So yeah, the one board, the one board was, yeah. So it's for $65. Now, this size cabinet, this is 24, 12-inch depth. This cabinet was like, the solid wood one, I think they wanted like $685 for it. Yeah, because the cabinet, the quote that I got was like 4,000 only for the upper, or something like that. But then they still had particle board. But these are all wood. So, you know, buy the tools, rent a shop, rent a space, and, you know, hire somebody to do it. Or if you could do it, just get a router, take your time and do it. Because what they sell, no, they sell crap. They do. They really, really do. They most certainly do. Anyway. Come out with your hands up! Car 54, where are you? Anyway, everybody have a great day. I hope I entertained you. And stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated, do the right thing by people. And, you know, remember, there's going to be a day, we're going to be doing a day a week to no spending, no spending, no spending, no spending, no spending, no nothing, no going out, no buying gasoline, nothing. Because the way they're shutting us down, we return the favor in kind, you know? You know, one hand washes the other. One hand washes the other while the other hand is in the back of the knife, you know? Remember that. Have a good one, everybody. Till next time. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.